Graham, would you call the roll?
Commissioner Lyons.
Here.
Vice Mayor Stanley.
Here.
Commissioner White. Here. Commissioner Orthwine. Here. Mayor Morgan.
Here.
Let the record show that Town Attorney John Randolph, Staff Attorney Edward Nazaro, Town Manager William H. Thrasher, incoming Town Manager Gregory Dunham, Police Chief Edward Allen, and Rita Taylor as Town Clerk are also present.
Thank you. Mr. Randolph, would you please address the issue of the closed door session?
Yes, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, I need your advice in regard to litigation strategy and other matters in regard to the following cases. O'Hare versus Town of Gulfstream, case number 502013 CAO 16864. O'Hare versus Town of Gulfstream, case number 502013 CA 017793AO. O'Hare versus Town of Gulfstream, case number 502013 CAO 18095. O'Hare versus Town of Gulfstream, case number 502013 CAO 18098AH. O'Hare versus Town of Gulfstream, case number 50214 CA 008327AF. O'Hare versus Town of Gulfstream, case number 2014 CC 010712RB. And O'Hare versus Gulfstream, case number 502014 CC 012269RJ. And also Asset Enhancement Inc. versus Town of Gulfstream, case number 502014 CAO 010216AF. Because I need your advice, I would ask that you consider scheduling a closed-door attorney-client session regarding the cases that I read to commence immediately following the conclusion of this commission meeting on this Monday, April 17, 2017, in the administrative office across from the Town Commission Chambers here at 100 C Road, Gulfstream, Florida. The attorney-client session attendees would be Mayor Scott Morgan, Vice Mayor Thomas Stanley, Town Commissioners Joan Orthwine, Paul Lyons, and Donna White, Town Manager William Thrasher, Town Attorney John C. Randolph, Special Trial Counsel Robert Sweetapple, and Staff Attorney Edward Trey Nazaro, who is also involved as a counsel, and court reporter from Pleasanton and Marsa, court reporter. I would request one closed-door session regarding the O'Hare cases and a separate closed-door session regarding the Asset Enhancement Inc. versus Town of Gulfstream case. I would need, if you agree to have a closed-door session, a motion to set these closed-door sessions to commence immediately after the regular commission meeting to take place in the administrative offices directly across from the Town Commission Chambers at 100 C Road, Gulfstream, Florida.
Is there a motion to hold closed-door session as requested by Town Attorney?
Also move.
Second?
Ms. Taylor?
Commissioner Lyons.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Stanley.
Yes.
Commissioner White.
Yes.
Commissioner Orthwine.
Yes.
Mayor Morgan.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Randolph. We've had an opportunity to review the minutes which were provided to us from our regular meeting on March 10th, as well as the certification of election returns and seating of commissioners on March 17th, and the special meeting appointment of town manager from March 17th. Are there any changes, corrections, additions, or comments to those minutes? If not, is there a motion to approve?
Also move. To approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
Second?
Ms. Taylor?
Commissioner Lyons.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Stanley.
Yes.
Commissioner White.
Yes.
Commissioner Orthwine.
Yes.
Mayor Morgan.
Yes. Rita, any additions, changes to the agenda?
I have none.
Thank you. Our next meeting will be May 12th at 9 a.m. for those who wish to attend. Let's move on to the proclamations. Ms. Taylor, let's start with Water Conservation Month.
This seems to be a water month. This is proclaiming the month of April as Water Conservation Month in Gulfstream. And we have another proclamation for proclaiming the month of April 2017 as Florida Water Professional Month. Then we have a third one. It's proclaiming the week of May 14th to the 20th of 2017 as Water Reuse Week in the state.
Are there any comments regarding those proclamations? Any objections? Otherwise, I would be happy to sign them. The next, I take no objections.
Do we need a motion?
Not for a proclamation.
Not for a proclamation. Our final proclamation is, Ms. Jones.
Yes. I have a proclamation proclaiming April the 17th, 2017 as William H. Thrasher Day in the town of Gulfstream, Florida. This is in recognition of the 21 years of outstanding and dedicated service given by William H. Thrasher to the town of Gulfstream. Whereas William H. Thrasher was employed to serve as finance director in the town of Gulfstream on April 29, 1996, and whereas William H. Thrasher has honorably served the town of Gulfstream in countless capacities over the past 21 years, including the positions of finance director, town manager, zoning administrator, and planning director, and whereas the town of Gulfstream and its residents have greatly benefited from the exceptional services performed by William H. Thrasher, and whereas those who have worked with William H. Thrasher at the town of Gulfstream also have benefited from his professionalism, wealth of knowledge, and sense of humor, and whereas William H. Thrasher will be greatly missed by residents and employees alike of the town of Gulfstream who wish his continued success in all future endeavors, and whereas the town of Gulfstream wishes to express its sincere gratitude to William H. Thrasher for exceptional efforts on the town's behalf. Now, therefore, Scott W. Morgan, Mayor of the town of Gulfstream, Palm Beach County, Florida, does hereby proclaim April 17th, 2017 as William H. Thrasher Day in the town of Gulfstream in recognition of the exceptional tenure of dedicated service given to the town of Gulfstream by William H. Thrasher.
Thank you. Read that hand, please. Bill?
Yes, sir.
The town of Gulfstream obviously is indebted to you for your 21 years of service. We've talked about this several times, but I think it bears repeating again. You have selflessly, loyally devoted your service to this town. I think I speak for not just myself, but for our past mayors, Worth Wine, and the late Mayor Bill Koch, that we have been aided in our service by yours. You have been our liaison locally, to the county, to the state. You have facilitated relationships between the town of Gulfstream and all the other local municipalities on and off the barrier island, have provided invaluable service in that regard, as well as maintaining our very strong financial position, something that, again, we are indebted to. And I can say personally that over the last 3 years, I have been supported by your advice, your steady, patient advice, your calm demeanor in the face of many things that this town has confronted, and I am personally grateful for your service. And with that, I am pleased and honored to sign this proclamation. Thank you. Public communication, would anyone wish to speak? Mr. O'Boyle.
Greetings, everyone. I come here today to discuss what's commonly referred to as the records litigation. On Saturday, I said that I would present a plan to do just that. Unfortunately, the plan is not complete, so I'll address the highlights. Generally stated, the plan could be broken down as follows. First ingredient will be to openly discuss the case on today's shade agenda. As we all know, sunshine always outshines shade, a place I'd rather be. We are intending to deliver today's case as a sacrificial lamb in exchange for good faith negotiations to resolve all with the town. For all to know, today's case is a case where the town and/or Mr. Sweetapple played hide the ball. Incidentally, by offering up today's case was and is an offering to demonstrate, inconsistent with the town's mantra, that the records litigations are not about fees. To make the townspeople aware, neither me nor my son received any monies from the records litigation, no matter what the town or the Coastal Star may say. And you should know that the town's strategy was, and still is, to destroy my son, and as a result, to break me. Neither will occur, but such strategy will likely harden the sides and frustrate settlement negotiations if it doesn't stop. Not good. The town entering into good faith settlement negotiations is a condition to our dismissing today's case. Another condition is the town admit they violated the records law and admit their conduct was illegal in the scheme of the records law. Today's case is not frivolous, and if anyone thinks it is, when Ms. O'Connor gets here, I'd urge you to please ask her. Whether the commission votes to settle today's case is yet unknown, given that the admission will be diametric to their mantra, and in the case of Mr. Stanley, will fly in the face of his statements to the people during his election campaign. Reminding all of you, there is no deal regarding today's case until it's signed off by both parties, remembering that any deal is subject to the conditions being met, including a simple blueprint for saying which Mr. Randolph and our lawyer should be able to work out fees. Today's case will be a clear signal the town's wishes to end the records litigation in whole. My conditions are clear. It's up to you. If you want to resolve all, as I do, we, together, I believe, have an opportunity to be fair with one another and accomplish just that goal. Thank you for this opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? If not, let's move on to the public hearing. This is an application, one we considered last month at 955 Indigo Point. Any ex parte communications by commissioners? If not, would we swear in witnesses?
Anybody that wishes to speak at this public hearing, please raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Put your hand on. Thank you. Good morning. My name is Carlos Linares with Randall Stott Architects. This submission basically is a continuation of the March 10th submission. At that point, the items that were raised, the items that were in question were basically a couple of landscape items that were in question since we've been to ARPD meeting as well. At that meeting, there were other landscape items that came about. Since then, we've submitted revised landscape drawings. Landscape architect is also here to basically walk you guys through what's been done.
You?
Good morning, my name's Mark Jacobs in my office, 2300 Corporate Boulevard, Suite 214, Boca Raton, Florida. what we have here is a schematic landscape plan, which we had addressed with the planning board earlier this month. They had asked that we address a couple of issues. One is the landscape as on the north side of our property, and another one was the landscape along this part of our site. If you can hear me, we have an existing ficus hedge that's currently in place and will remain in place along this perimeter. We've made an attempt to add 3 palm trees here and a flowering tree here. You'll see in the elevation that those help break up the roof mass of the 2-story element on this portion of the house. And again, on the north side of the property, we've added clusters of coconuts and some understory vegetation to help give relief to the north elevation as you're looking south. So, having said that, I will show you a plan that we have depicted how the house looks from north, south, east, and west. And you can see each one of the items has been clouded on your drawings. So let's look at the west elevation as we come down Indigo and we're approaching the front of the house. We've added these, again, these palms that I talked about along the entry drive in an effort to give relief to the 2-story roof element that's in this corner. The other thing we've done is also add a flowering tree here to give relief to this 1-story roof element. On the north side of the site, we have a group of coconuts on this corner. We've also added some understory ligustrum trees here, and again, another group of coconut palms to help give relief to the elevation on the north side, the roof line particularly from the house looking to the south. So those were the 2 items that the planning board asked us to take a look at and was comfortable that we addressed. So we're just here to show you what the items were. Question?
What size are the trees on the north elevation?
Typically, our ligustrum trees are in the 8 to 9 foot height range, and as labeled here, the coconuts are 8 to 10 feet of wood. So you get 8 to 10 feet of clear, trunk, and then you've probably got another 16 feet of fronds above that for an overall height of 26 feet. Say 24 to 26.
Okay, thank you.
Peter, have there been any comments by the neighbors regarding that?
On the south side, there's a ficus that divides the property, the Herzog property that's under construction with this property. And that's a well-established bush. Is that, it looks like it has significant whitefly damage to it.
That's being retained. That's actually our neighbor's hedge.
It is the neighbor's hedge. Is it solely on their property, or is it, a lot of times with a bush like that, be careful one side and this side?
I believe it's on the property line, but I've been told by my client that that's the neighbor's hedge. They propose to maintain their side of it and to maintain it and to keep it. And that's what they've been told by the neighbors, they're gonna keep it as well.
I think they want to.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Any other
And it will be, just to answer your question, if it does have whitefly, they'll be treating it for that, I'm sure.
I know the first plans, the shrubbery that you show on that south side elevation now is significantly higher than what was shown on the initial drawings. And
Well,
I think that was,
What we tried to do through graphic representation is I tried to get one of my guys to show it to be translucent, and I asked him to show it at a certain height. Unfortunately, it got showed lower translucent. So in this case, I've actually asked him to darken it up a little bit and raise it. The hedge, as you can see here, looks like it's 6 feet tall, but on site it's significantly taller than that. It's probably 8 feet at least.
very easy to follow the three progressions from the original to the revised to the revised. So I appreciate that.
No problem, thank you.
Any other questions of representatives for this application? If not, are there any motions?
Mr. Mayor, may I speak before you vote on this?
Of course, I'm sorry. Yes,
Oh,
Mr.
sorry,
O'Hare.
don't be sorry, that's fine. Thank you. Mr. Stoft is a talented architect, and this is going to be a wonderful addition to Place du Soleil. It's going to increase everybody's property values, and it's about time. We've had a number of homes being remodeled, and this is another one in the trend, and I'm very happy for it. Having said that, a year and a half ago, this commission passed ordinance 15-4 defining open front lawns. And during the discussion, it was decided that open front lawns would basically apply to the entire area from the front face of a building to the front property line, from side property line to side property line. And in that zone, plants would have to be no more than 25% of the plants could be over 3 feet tall. And I noticed on the ARPB review of this just a couple of weeks ago, they made a condition of approval that 7 conditions listed above had to be followed in order to approve this project. Condition 5 says the hedge must meet the code on the property line, especially in relationship to the views. And I can understand why they came to this conclusion, because your own code defines non-conforming as a land use that doesn't meet the code. And 66 and 191, I'm sorry, 131 requires that required conditions of continuance, uses of land which are non-conforming shall not be expanded or enlarged. So when Mr. Minor did his analysis, I'm not sure how he came up with the numbers, he determined that 23 linear feet would now have plants over 3 feet tall. Did not take into account the non-conforming aspect of the hedge. So my question is it a condition of approval that the perimeter hedge be trimmed down and maintained in perpetuity below 3 feet in order to eliminate that non-conformity?
I don't believe that's a recommendation on the recommended approval. Are you objecting to the application? Do you wish us to deny it?
I'm objecting to your ordinance 15-4. And again, as I have in the past, I'm pointing out the absurdity of that. It was passed in order to preserve the character of Place du Soleil. Ironically, it created 95% of those homes, or it caused those homes to be non-conforming. From Mrs. White's home, Chet's home, my home, we're all non-conforming now. So it didn't really deserve anything, it just imposed something that was pretty absurd. But now that imposition is being ignored. And I'm asking on this application, will the open front lawn regulation be enforced?
All I know, Mr. O'Hare, frankly, from your presentation, is that this was evaluated in-house as well as by an outside contractor who found it to be conforming, and it is recommended for approval. So that.
I'm asking the commission. This is the illustration.
Okay, I understand what you're saying.
Oh, I'm sorry, just if I might finish. This is the illustration of all the plants, which I think is beautiful, and I would welcome the town approving this, except that it's not in conformity with the code. I'm asking you, are you waiving the code? Are you requiring them to get a variance? Are you just going to ignore the code?
Look,
Or are you going to ask them to comply with the code?
we can go back and forth on this like a ping pong table, but the fact of the matter is, this was approved in-house and by independent contractors. So I am assuming that it's all in compliance with the code. If we're not, that would be brought to our attention now. You are bringing it to our attention as your opinion that it's a violation of the code, and so I would ask again if you want us to deny this application.
I would like you to approve this application contingent on it complying with the code.
Okay.
That's just
Fair enough.
my ask. I mean, you're the commission, you can do anything you want.
Fair
I'm just
enough.
bringing this to your attention and asking you to treat everyone in Place du Soleil the same.
Thank you. Any other
Thank you, sir.
comments from the public? Any comments from the commission? Or is there a motion?
Looking for our motion sheet.
You've got one.
She's all in the same area.
development application for 955 Indigo Point, application number 016-13. First motion is to recommend approval of a demolition permit. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Taylor?
Commissioner Lyons?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Stanley?
Yes.
Commissioner White?
Yes.
Commissioner Orthwyne?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Second motion for the prior reference application is a motion to recommend approval of a land clearing permit.
Second.
Ms. Taylor?
Commissioner Lyons?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Stanley?
Yes.
Commissioner White?
Yes.
Commissioner Orthwyne?
Yes.
Mayor Morgan?
Yes.
The third motion is a motion to recommend approval of level 3 architectural site plan based on the finding that the proposed construction of a 2-story single-family Gulfstream Bermuda-style dwelling with attached 3-car garage consisting of 7,340 square feet, swimming pool, spa, fire pit, and fountain meet the minimum intent of the design manual and the applicable review standards with the following conditions. Any minor modifications in the landscape plan shall be submitted to the town manager for review and approval, and any major modifications shall be brought back to the ARPB for review approval prior to commencement of landscaping. All boat lifts, docks, seawalls, etc. will conform to the town code section 66-369 docks. 3, needs to be submitted to Glass and Soleil Homeowners Association for review and comment prior to public hearing. I think that was already done. 4, during construction, the construction period, there will be a 6-foot high screen around the property. 5, the hedge must meet the code on the property line, especially in relation to the views. 6, landscape material on the south side of the house to be increased to provide buffer screening of the second story, which we heard today, and which will be added to the application. It'll be a requirement. And 7, the landscape material be increased on the north and south side of the house, and landscaping material added on the west side to soften the first story roof. That was presented today, will be added to the application, will be a condition.
Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Taylor?
Commissioner Lyons?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Stanley?
Yes.
Commissioner White?
Yes.
Commissioner Orthwyne?
Yes.
Mayor Morgan?
Yes. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. Move on to reports. The audit for 2015-16, Mr. Bennett. Welcome.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, on behalf of Nolan Holt Minor Certified Public Accountants, I'd like to thank the town for allowing us to serve as your auditor. And I'd also like to thank the management staff for working with us and making our job a pleasure. And third, I'd like to congratulate the management staff for doing an excellent job this year. With that, I'll talk just a little bit about why you do an audit and the reports you have in the audit. And then I have a little handout. Hopefully everyone has a copy. I brought about 25 copies, so if anyone in the audience wants them, they're certainly available for you. As you know, this is a governmental audit, so in addition to normal auditing standards, Florida statutes require that all governmental audits also be done in accordance with generally accepted governmental auditing standards. And in addition to us having to do additional work, you get an additional report. There are actually 4 reports in this document. The first one is the independent auditor's report on the financial statements, where we've said, given what we call a clean opinion, with one minor caveat, which I'll explain in a second, that we believe, based on our audit, that your financial statements in this report are fairly stated in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. The minor caveat is several years ago, GASB statement number 45 regarding other post-employment benefits, which in this state arise because of an implicit rate subsidy for health insurance for retirees. The town never implemented it. I think if you had, you might have found out that the amount was 0. It would be small, but we're required to modify our opinion and say that you haven't implemented that. The second report is one required in accordance with generally accepted government auditing standards. That's a report on internal control and compliance. I'm happy to say that we found nothing amiss that we were required to report. Because you're in the state of Florida, the Florida Auditor General says we have to include a management letter in the same document with all these reports. And he has several bullet items that are boilerplate type stuff that we have to comment on, say yay or nay, whether you comply or not comply. Happy to say in each of those instances, there's nothing we had to report, everything was fine. The fourth report, again, is required by the Florida Auditor General, And that's not an audit, it's an attestation engagement, and it relates to whether or not the town complied with Florida statute 218.415 regarding allowable investment vehicles for municipalities. I'm happy to say that again, the town complied in all respects. This year, if you read the opinion, you'll see that there are some new accounting standards that went into effect. There's been a deluge of these in the past several years. There are 5 that were actually applicable this year. Only 2 of them applied to the town. You didn't have some of the other issues. There are 5 more coming out, 4 in 2017 and 1 in 2018. I don't think they'll have a big effect on the town. It would be minors. More than one of them will relate to defined benefit pension plans, and the town does not have a defined benefit pension plan. You have a defined contribution, so it's not going to affect you at all. The most significant one this year was GASB statement number 72 regarding reporting of investments at fair value. It changed the wording and the note disclosure for the town, but it changed none of the numbers because of the nature of the investments you have. You'll notice that there's a different definition for, if you look at note 1 on the, under investments, and we have the definition of fair value, that has changed. And if you look at the note on deposits and investments, you'll see they've created this 3-tier hierarchy where they have levels based on how you determine the fair value of it. For the town, none of your investments were categorized under that hierarchy. You hold certificates of deposit, and their fair value is determined based on the cost whatever you paid for them. So they're actually exempt from disclosure under that hierarchy. So it's kind of, you got new words, but nothing else changed. That was not true in most places. If they had more sophisticated investments, the disclosure became rather difficult. But here's just the simplest case going, and I'm thankful for that. Made life easy. Now I'd like to talk about the numbers. The financial highlights. The first page, the extra little cover page, is a summary of your governmental revenues. You have 2 governmental funds. You have the general fund, which is where most of the activity takes place. You have a special revenue fund where the special assessments related to the underground are recorded. And so the governmental revenues is the combined total for both of those funds. All of it is predominated by the general fund. But as you can see, your revenues increased $1.8 million from the prior year, from $4.5 million to $6.3 million. The entire increase was basically consist of 2 items. Property taxes went up approximately $1.4 million, and licenses and permits went up $485,000. That was an increase in building permit fees. So 2 items essentially accounted for it. Everything else pretty much washed out. Changes in those are relatively minor. Next page gives a little bar chart that shows this. You can see the bottom blue line is the property taxes, and that dwarfs everything else. Next page is a summary of the governmental expenditures. Here the picture's a little different. They actually decreased from the prior year. Dropped from $4.69 million to $4.56 million. That's about a 2.8% decrease. You'll notice 2 areas in which one area increased. General administrative went up about $300,000. Physical environment went down $650,000. Physical environment is primarily the undergrounding activity. What happened was phase 1 wound down and phase 2 had not kicked in yet, so you had a big drop off in the undergrounding project. Other than that, everything kind of, well, you had a fair change in police. It was up $90,000. And capital outlay was up $125,000. Capital outlay is essentially a non-recurring. It's whenever you buy something that can go up or down all over the place. Next page again is a chart showing this. You can see that expenditures peaked out back in 2014, and they've been fairly stable the last 2 years. The residual after all your revenues and expenditures, your fund balance. A lot of people like to focus on this one. The next exhibit is the general fund balance. Here you had a major change. The fund balance actually increased about $1.8 million. And the big reason for that was you came in way under budget on expenditures in the general fund. Administrative, legal fees were way less than anticipated. Was a big portion of that. You had increased the property taxes, so you had a jump in revenue. You actually had a little bit of a drop off in some of those expenditures. You'll notice, most of your fund balance is unassigned. That's the good kind. That's the kind that the commission can spend on any lawful purpose at their discretion. The other, it's traditionally been very small, and it would have been this year except for one minor change. Of that $693,000, $671,000 that is fund balance that you budgeted to use in the 2017 year, so that's gonna go away. You had this big excess that popped up this year, and you're gonna use half of it back down in 2017. So that other would probably drop back to the minor amounts that hadn't passed. Last year, your unassigned was about 36% of your total expenditures for the year, and this year up to 61. Based on the 17 budget, it'll probably drop down some. But I think next year, I think this is a good range. You can see the chart of it, how you had this, on the next page, you had a major increase there. The final exhibit is the enterprise fund. Good news again here, that this is pretty much steady as you go. You had your revenues increased, operating revenues increased $48,000. You made a small, I think it was a 4%, was that increase in the order rates was 4%, I think it was.
I don't remember.
It was a small percentage increase. That's why your revenues are up a little bit. You increased the order rate slightly. Your expenditures were up $29,000. With of that $29,000, $15,000 of it was the management fee that the enterprise fund pays the general fund. So you only had a $14,000 increase in total otherwise. Pretty much, as I said, status quo didn't change, but your total operating income was $169,000. You also had the capital contributions of $114,000, which increased your, it's called change in net position, but if you were in a for-profit business, we'd call it net income. So you had about a $286,000 net income, which was a $68,000 increase from the prior year. Let's see the number there. You can see over the years since you instituted the reserve fee, those are, most of the capital contributions are those reserve fees, and they're now building up net position. Let me tell you the amount of that. We got $370,000 restricted for repairs, replacements, and improvements, and that's was the purpose of instituting that reserve fee, was to start building up reserves for when you have to do a major repair or a replacement on some of the infrastructure in the water fund, since it is very old, most of it. That's all I have. I would certainly be glad to try and answer any questions.
I have a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
I always ask these same questions on audit, so I apologize in advance. Were there any year-end accounting adjustments?
Yes, you will be getting another report. As part of the audit, we're required to give you a separate report. It's a letter, and you will get a copy of all those adjustments. It's we call it the SAS 114 report. SAS Statement of Auditing Standards 114 requires that the auditors, once the audit is complete, communicate to those charged with governance certain information. One of those is a copy of all the adjusting entries, and if there were any entries that we call them the insignificant ones, we don't post adjusting entries for everything. If they're trivial in amount, we don't adjust them. We will also give you a list of those, and you should get that. I'll get it out this week. You'll get it in the.
And does that include something that I would call it the management letters, where you make recommendations about?
That's actually in here. That's in this document.
And you'll highlight the ones you thought were important that we institute?
Yeah, we didn't have any recommendations for change this year. That report begins on page 49 in this document.
I missed it.
Yeah. It's a management letter in accordance with the rules of the Auditor General of the State of Florida. Last year we had a recommendation in there. This year we didn't have one. But that's where it would be. But the SAS 114 report is of a totally different nature. It discloses a lot of things to you. If you're not familiar with audits, at the end of the audit, we get representations from management. The chief executive, the town manager, and the finance director have to sign a long boilerplate list of things that they have represented to us. That SAS 114 report, we're going to give you a copy of that letter along with it, so you can see what the communications were between us and management.
So in layman's terms, the fact that there were no comments in the management letters confirms that the accounting practices, procedures of this town are very sound.
And that was our opinion based on our audit.
Thank you.
Yeah, if we had had anything, it depends on the nature of what's wrong. There are two reports. The report on internal control, if we thought there were a major problem, say you had a material weakness in internal control, which is the worst kind of problem you can have in internal control. There's material weaknesses and significant deficiencies. They go from the worst to the least. If you had one of those, we'd have to report it in the report on internal control. If we just had a recommendation that said, you know, you have things under control, but we just think you could do things better. You know, this would be more efficient or less costly. We would do those kinds of recommendations in the management letter. So it depends on the nature of it. But if it's in the report on internal control, that means it's much more significant and much more severe. If it's in the management letter, generally it's a lot less significant, and it probably comes as a way to improve efficiency or effectiveness or something like that, rather than being a major control issue.
Well, I want to thank the staff for the excellent accounting, and I appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Just as a comment, their job was made a little bit more difficult this year. You purchased some new accounting software, and new software, the problem is you always have to get all the old data out of the old software into the new software, and the way that's typically done is you pay the vendor, you know, that they hold you up for ransom, basically. We'll sell you the software cheap, and we'll charge you a fortune to move your old data, because you gotta have your data. And it never works 100% seamlessly like it's supposed to, and there are always some kind of issues. And our audit actually got, what was it, about a month or so, where we were waiting for some answers from the guy.
But we
we
should
actually-
be good from now. We're good.
So, you know, I had been pulling my hair out. You know, part of the year was under one system, and part of the year was under another. And like everybody else, I fell into bad habits. You know, I knew exactly the reports I needed and everything to do my audit. And I show up, well, the new system doesn't generate those. So I got 3 months worth of one kind of report, and then I got 9 months of a different kind of report. But the data's not exactly lined up just right, so I gotta figure out how to massage that and get it in a format where I can add the two together to come up with the total for the year. Next year, that should not be a problem. I think the new software is better, it provides more information that I like. It was just the transition probably caused staff a lot more headaches than it did me, but it delayed our report probably about 9 months.
Well, thank you. Any other questions from the auditor? Thank you very much.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Move on to the undergrounding report. Mr. Brannon is not here, but I'll update. As you can see, just outside City Hall, the undergrounding is proceeding apace. They will be making the turn up County Road and up A1A to the Little Club. We will coordinate our road work along with the undergrounding completion, at least the conduit line. Then, of course, we have to wait for FP&L and the utilities to come in and pull the wires. Town manager report.
Mayor, I have no report.
That's good, quick and easy. ARPB meeting is April 27th at 8:30 a.m. for those who wish to attend. Finance director's report.
You've been provided information.
Any questions on the financial report or the water usage reports? Nope. Questions? We will accept those as submitted. Thank you. Chief Allen, police activity.
I request the activity report to be accepted as submitted. However, we'd like to add one little bit of information here. Lieutenant Hadley has been working very close with the FEMA reps for the last couple of months in regards to the application for us to receive reimbursement from Hurricane Matthew. So far, they have accepted our application with her, and we're likely to be getting about $18,000 back from the funds that were laid out.
Excellent. Any questions of the chief? Thank you very much. Okay, we move to Ms. Taylor, town clerk, for the post-election manual audit.
Yes, they always have a hand count a few days after the first count. And I'm pleased to report that the overall accuracy of the audit was 100%. There was one ballot overvoted, 195 undervoted, and there were none that weren't accepted. And we have the signatures of the people that did this hand audit, and it's all approved, and we're good to go next time.
Very good. Questions of the town clerk? If not, thank you very much for your report. Move on to Plaza Soleil's update. Mr. Snavely is president of the HOA there, and the Gunther Volvo issue.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'll need these back, so don't fold them or make notes. What I just gave you is the basis for our concern and why we are doing what we're doing about the Gunther Volvo proposed development. Just to refresh your memory, Gunther Volvo is proposing to build a 3-story parking garage, storage garage, showroom garage, within 65 feet of the boundary line with Plaza Soleil. And so Plaza Soleil is very concerned about this, which is why I'm standing up here and talking to you now. At our last meeting, it was decided that Mayor Morgan would contact Mayor Glickstein on a personal basis and see if we could generate any interest from Mayor Glickstein in addressing this problem or this issue. Subsequently, Mayor Morgan and I had a meeting with the Delray City planners, Tim Stillings, the director of planning, Amy Alvarez, a senior director, and Scott Pappy, a senior director. We had this meeting with them, along with Gunther Volvo, with Gunther Volvo's engineers, their architects, their attorneys, and the manager of the facility. What Scott and I basically laid out was our basic concerns. We didn't want to get into a lot of the details. We were concerned about the size of the project and its proximity to the neighborhood. We were concerned about the screening of the project, again, because of its mass and its proximity to the neighborhood. And most of all, the light and the noise pollution produced from a facility such as this. That's why I gave you a copy of the printout. That photograph in front of you is of the Toyota parking showroom storage garage on Federal Highway south of Lynn. That photograph was taken about 7:45 at night last week. And that photograph they have in their hands there was taken 1,083 feet from the facility. So if you go 1,083 feet from the facility, that is well visible to all of Gulfstream, not just Plaza Soleil. This project sits in the air with its lighting about 35 feet from ground level. So when you're 65 feet close to it, it's really bright. When you're 1,000 feet away from it, you say, oh wow, isn't that bright? So there's a little bit of a difference, but the view is still the same. We met with Volvo and the planners on the premise that the solution was in the design. And Scott and I mentioned that maybe 5 different times during the meeting. And we said, we're not here to stop your project, but the solution is in the design. Please look at your design, through your design, come up with some changes that would make your project more palatable to the neighbors in Plaza Soleil, the community, that's been there for 60 years. It predates all the dealerships that are in existence now, and we felt that some consideration should be given in that regard. The problems that we face is that according to Delray code, the written code, they meet code. If we wouldn't be a separate municipality, we would not have a heavy automotive commercial zone next to a single-family zone. So we have to work, in my opinion, with the conscience of Delray Beach. And they have a SPRAD meeting coming up there before April 26th or 28th. I think it's the 28th. What is it?
It's
soon.
26.
Yeah, 26 or 28, either way,
Yeah.
it's soon. So what Scott and I did is we said, find a way to mitigate the noise situation and the light situation. We were concerned initially about the drainage situation. Their engineer, Joe Pike, explained to us how the drainage situation was going to work, and how it was actually an upgrade from their existing drainage situation, and we were fine with that. Once it was explained to us, I think it's fair to say that we understood it more and we were more comfortable with it. The noise situation and the light situation was pretty much dismissed in Volvo's response letter to our meeting. They said that they could not enclose the garage as we had suggested, doing some screening with the garage with shuttering or with a decorative ornamental dressing like they've done in Palm Beach, near City Place in Palm Beach. And they said it would be too expensive because that would incur mechanical air ventilation in the building, and the noise from the fans would be louder than the noise from the car dealerships. I was very disappointed in this because we don't have any architects left here, I think, but when you design a parking garage, like they've done in Delray and they've done all over the world, right? When you design a parking garage, if you're going to screen the openings between the floor plates of the garage, you can't screen them, or you can't obstruct them more than 50%. If they're obstructed more than 50%, you have to go to mechanical ventilation. And that's what they were saying. They couldn't, the cost for mechanical ventilation was too expensive. Folks, they've done this all over. I've got printouts of the different ways it can be done. With louvers, you get if the face of the building is 24 foot 6 inches high, you get a 24-foot louver, maybe 4 inches wide, and you cant that just like you would a Venetian blind, and you cant that towards Federal Highway. That obliterates all the lighting concerns we had. It also deflects the noise we have. It deflects it towards Federal Highway, where they want people, that's where the public drives. They want to see the cars in there, they can see the cars in there, but the development cannot see the cars in there. Sound like a pretty decent suggestion. That would not require the need for mechanical ventilation. We also asked that they move part of the garage to the northern side of the building, getting it more than 65 feet away from Plaza Select. That would put it at 125 feet away if they moved the back 75-foot section to the north part of the building. That would encroach upon their existing used car dealership, which is another platted property that they own. And they said that that would be cumbersome because of their agreements with Volvo and the cost of moving that. Well, we're building the same square footage, and if you move that square footage, the only cost they're going to get, increased cost they're going to get into is civil engineering. So that was an added disappointment. Wrapping the whole thing up is that Volvo was not interested in spending any money on any redesign. They offered us additional planting on this design that was located within the retention basin, which, when they go through review, the landscape review of Delray is not going to be allowed to begin with. They have no landscaping on the north side of this property, which is viewed from a number of the residents as you go northerly on Avenue au Soleil. And, there was one other thing that we suggested was an 11-foot masonry wall behind their three properties along the borderline of Place Soleil. The code in Delray is a 6 or an 8-foot wall is allowed, but the planner said if the residents all agreed to that, that would be a waiver of that condition. Is that right, Scott? I remember.
Yeah.
So, their response letter was woefully inadequate, did not address any of the design issues that we had hoped to address. Again, we weren't trying to stop the project. We just wanted it to be an acceptable situation. I think you sent a letter there.
Yeah, following up on what Mr. Snavely has outlined, I was previously authorized by the commission to send a letter on Gulfstream's behalf objecting to the plan as designed. But in thinking about it and having attended several meetings and learned more about this project, and particularly the seeming inability of Gunther Volvo to address many of these points at all. Their response after our meeting was really unsatisfactory. I would like to have a letter that I've drafted and that has been given to the commissioners, signed by all 5 commissioners before we send it. So it's in keeping with what had previously been authorized by the commission, but I just feel that it should be signed by everyone. And I would like to get your comments and a motion to approve that if you agree.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Would you please also address that letter to the mayor?
Sure.
Because I think
Right
you
now
have
it's
a more
directed to the
sympathetic, I think we have a
planning zone.
sympathetic ear with Mr. Glickstein also, because he has proven in the past that he is a responsible developer individual.
So they pretty much said no to everything.
We'll address it to.
No would be the kind word.
Except the masonry wall.
No, they said no to the masonry wall too.
Oh, okay. Nice, that's all.
Yeah. John, you're saying we should include all commissioners as well?
Yes, I agree. The dealership you're talking about,
Yeah, I would agree with that.
City Place, is that the Jaguar one that's surrounded by all the condos right there, or
Uh,
apartments?
Yes, yeah, it's the one behind the New Hilton Hotel.
Right.
And I knew, I was Cleveland Clinic, I looked down, there's a big parking garage, and they have, a decorative metal facade.
Right, and they won't do something like that, because that would take care of some of this.
Well, that would take care of some of this. But, I've been on the websites and looking at I've been talking to architectural garage designers, I've been on the internet looking at architectural details.
Yeah.
I'm much more authority than I ever hoped to be on this. But what really makes the most sense is a project they've done in Miami, and that's with these louvers.
Okay.
And they're an aluminum louver, they're large, and you can cant them any which way, and it doesn't obstruct any of the airflow through the garage.
Yeah, that's what
It
you
does
said.
not necessitate a mechanical ventilation system. And what was really disappointing about this is Scott and I went to this meeting with an olive branch saying, here we are, let's work together. Again, reiterating the solutions in the design. And they basically said, I'm sure their mindset is, we've met all the codes, we really don't care about you. And that's,
True developer.
no, Joe, that's not true. No, don't say that, I'm a real estate developer.
Sorry, I should have said that. Okay. I think all the commissioners should sign this letter.
But, this picture, Chet, of the Volvo dealership, south of Linton, is.
Toyota.
Oh, it's a Toyota, it's not a Volvo.
No, it's the Toyota dealership that's there.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I was wondering if it's
South of
the
Linton.
same footprint,
Yes.
basically. And what do you propose would be the venue to present like this drawing and the ideas of the aluminum at this time or at a meeting or with the letter?
As soon as you have your letter, what I propose to do is hand carry that to a meeting with Amy and Stillings and Pappy. Sit down with them for 5-10 minutes and say, hey guys, you know, the response letter, I've already emailed them my objection to the response letter. And what I'd like to do is hand carry this, a copy of this letter to them, because this is, you're going to be sending it. I'd like to hand carry this and sit down and say, this is not rocket science. This is what can be done. It adds a little bit to their cost. Sure it does. But, you should have had this you should have come and talked to us before any of this started. This should have been cranked into your plans initially. And you didn't choose to do that, so here we are now. We're asking for this now. And this is something that I think that their planning commission can require of them as a condition for their approval.
Do we know what the spread is roughly? What are we talking about, 400 or 500? Not moving the building, that's hard with the louvers, are we talking what, 250? Spread
Cost
plan-
me?
Yeah, spread plan A, which is what's being presented, and plan B with 3 major modifications. I mean, does anybody have put their finger on what that would be?
No, and quite frankly, Tom, I don't think that's our responsibility. I think that the cost should not be a factor in this. The fact is Gunther bought these 3 dealerships very reasonably, economically. And if they want to do this, I mean, they're really maximizing every inch of ground here. And for that maximization for a small tract, they're putting 213,000 square feet on 4 acres of ground. That's a lot. And Bill can confirm that that's a lot. And then plus all the impervious parking. One thing that we didn't aggressively address is the flow of traffic that they're showing on that plan around the property with the semi-tractor trailer car carriers. They're showing that route of travel all along the perimeter of their property, the perimeter with Plaza Select. So that's something that I don't know that we can control. I don't think we can control, but I think we can do this. But I think the way we have to do this is working with the planning commission while we are also talking with the mayor, Mayor Linsky. And just impressing upon the mayor, we went there with the solution is in the design mentality. And they came back with no design solutions.
Can I ask a question on tactics? One place I get a little confused or concerned, probably is a better way of expressing, is that the town of Gulfstream does it have any standing vis-a-vis Del Rey? The planning board, the planning commission serves Del Rey, not Gulfstream. So I'm not against doing this, I'm just trying to appreciate what advantage we have in taking this step. Maybe we should do it, but should there be other steps?
Paul, I think that you're correct. That's part of the dilemma I've been working with. That's why I think it's important for Scott to go at a personal level with Carrie and say, hey, we're really trying to figure this out. We really need you to kind of work with us on a good neighbor basis. That's kind of what we're appealing to, a good neighbor basis.
There's no
because there's no,
We have no legal standing
No.
to object to this. It's really comity between neighborhoods, and when I met with Mayor Goodstein, he was very sympathetic to our position, and realized that this is a large commercial development right next to a neighborhood with which Delray has had very good relationships, and our neighborhood predates this dealership by many, many years. So I think he appreciated our reach out. We're not threatening. We are just appealing to the good neighbor approach, I think, is what Chet's saying.
we're not far away from a resolution.
There's
We
not
really
much
aren't.
that needs to be done, quite frankly.
Well, I like Tom's question, is it really comes down to, what's the data here? I mean, it's gonna cost 200,000, 400,000, I mean, if it comes down to $200,000, Volvo can step up. Come on.
Paul, they have a 600 car parking garage. That's 600 car inventory. You're turning into a regional dealership. You're turning a lot of cars. So whatever that delta is, whether it's 200,000 or 600,000, it doesn't matter. You break that down into a per unit cost. It's not. I don't care if it's 200,000 or 600,000.
Well, we're going to appeal our position to the town, to the mayor, and to the commissioners, and see what sort of response we get. Yes? Joe?
Thank you, Mayor. I know that there's been a lot of emphasis in examination of their code. In fact, our contract expert looked at the code and there's no conflict. Has there been any investment of time in analyzing their comp plan? Sometimes the comp plan is more futuristic in concept.
They're comprehensive for the 3 properties.
No, Delray Beach is comprehensive.
Comprehensive rezoning or zoning.
Pardon me?
Their comprehensive zoning plan?
No. It's called the comp plan.
I don't know what that is.
Pardon me?
I don't know what that is.
Okay. Perhaps prior to the letter, the commission may ask Urban Design Tilday to quickly evaluate their comp plan to see if there's anything there.
That would be fine. I thought they had already
They looked
been
at their
retained to
code.
evaluate this
Well,
project.
their
Yeah, they are,
code, and I
not the
just
comp plan.
today thought, well, you've hit a seemingly blank wall, an obstacle in regards to the code. But I don't think that we invested any time in evaluating their comprehensive plan. There may be nothing there, but that sometimes I've found that to be helpful in certain dealings I've had here.
If we could find anything that would give us a legitimate legal basis to object, that'd be terrific. So, yeah, but it has to be done pretty quickly.
No, it has to be done quickly. In Delray Beach, when they built the parking garage on Second and Pineapple, if you look at that parking garage, they mitigated the impact of that parking garage with spaces with shutters and windows to give it a more residential feel because it was next to the historical district there of downtown Delray. So Delray itself has been sympathetic to this.
Is that the parking garage right in the middle
Yes.
of the
Pineapple Grove
Baptist
lot,
Field?
Old School
Is that-
Square.
Yes.
Yeah, that's an idea, actually.
So I mean, they took into account that factor when they built their own garage.
So why
So-
shouldn't they put that on other developments?
I suspect Delray's planners have looked at their comp plan to see whether or not there's any inconsistency. However, you can ask your planner to do that. I wouldn't hold up on your letter while he's looking at that. If he finds something that, a smoking gun in there, you can always add that later. But it sounds like time is of the essence for this letter. So I would recommend you entertain a motion to authorize the mayor to sign this letter and send it as discussed.
I think you're probably right, because I met with the mayor and the director of planning and zoning. And based on the mayor's instructions, I have no doubt that the director would have reviewed all aspects of this project. So, yeah, let's, if anyone wishes
Make a motion.
to make such a motion.
To have all the commissioners sign this letter with the mayor and send
Second?
Ms. Taylor?
Commissioner Lyons?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Stanley?
Yes.
Commissioner White?
Yes.
Commissioner Orthwyne?
Yes.
Mayor Morgan?
Yes.
Question, does that mean that I could ask Marty Minor to evaluate the comp plan?
Yes, do you need a motion for it? We can do
No,
it.
I just,
don't think it's-
I didn't know if that was included or not.
Looks like an understatement.
Consensus.
Yes, please. Let's return that. Mr. Snavely, thank you, Chet.
Yep.
Just as an idea, do you think that when they did this review, the code review that supposedly Marty Meyer was involved in before, did they, about, like our code has noise tolerances, you know, for generators and things like that, but since it would be evaluated with the noise and light pollution, sort of.
I believe so, yes. They would- From a code standpoint, I don't always look at our comp plan, code issues unless it's
Thank you.
controversial. Sometimes there can be some lingering effects that
That they would consider, I mean, if it was Delray, a Delray neighborhood, they would consider that because it's within their code, but then, did they consider that
I
even if
don't-
their
I don't
tolerances are
remember.
different than ours?
I do not remember any reports that I've read from the city of Delray Beach in which language included evaluation of the comp plan. Now, it should be a standard practice, but, you know,
She's asking whether or not, in looking at their code, they considered the noise and light pollution.
and I said yes. Oh, you mean Delray? I believe our
Oh, yes,
our
okay.
consultant did, I believe they did. So from a
Yes, they
code
told me they did.
standpoint,
It's also not a rezone either, not
No.
a change in existing zone.
nothing's
Correct, it's on for automobile. All right, let's move on to items for commission action, reorganization of the commission, move to election of mayor and vice mayor. Comments? Proposal?
I'd like to elect Scott Morgan as the mayor again, not again, as a wonderful mayor. I think he's done a great job, and I think he will continue to do a good job.
I'll second. Ms. Taylor?
Commissioner Lyons?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Stanley?
Yes.
Commissioner White?
Yes.
Commissioner Orthwyne?
Absolutely.
Mayor Morgan?
Yes. Move to the election of vice mayor.
I will say I think Tom Stanley's done an excellent job, and I think I would like to nominate him as vice mayor.
Second.
I'll second it.
Ms. Taylor?
Commissioner Lyons?
Yes.
Commissioner Stanley?
Yes.
Commissioner White?
Yes.
Commissioner Orthwyne?
Yes.
Mayor Morgan?
Yes. Thank you very much. Appreciate the votes.
Thank you.
Let's move to designation of voting delegate and alternates for the Palm Beach League of Cities. This is typically done each year, I believe it's each year.
Right.
And the town manager and each commissioner as alternate would be listed. Is that correct, Ms. Taylor?
In the past, it's always been the voting delegate is the mayor, with all the rest of you plus the town manager as alternates.
Okay.
Okay.
You need a motion?
Yes.
We do.
Okay. I'd like to make that motion.
All right, move to approve the voting delegates and alternates as explained by Ms. Taylor, mayor, town manager, and all commissioners.
Right.
Is there a second?
Second.
Rita?
Commissioner Lyons?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Stanley?
Yes.
Commissioner White?
Yes.
Commissioner Orthwyne?
Yes.
Mayor Morgan?
Yes. Let's move on to the auditing contract with Nolan Helton Minor for the year 2017 through 2019. They've done an excellent job historically, and I would recommend that we continue their services. Any comments?
You need a motion?
Then a motion, please.
I'd like to move that the auditing services for 2017 through 2019 with the Nolan, Holt, and Langer be continued.
Second.
Rita?
Commissioner Lyons?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Stanley?
Yes.
Commissioner White?
Yes.
Commissioner Orthwyne?
Yes.
Mayor Morgan?
Yes. Move on to the street repaving agreement proposal from Ansco Inc. Mr. Thrasher.
thank you, Mayor. You've been provided information in regards to the proposed contractor. This is a piggyback option that we are exercising. The bids that we have are, there are 2 pages involved with this, and specifying which roads would be paved and which ones would be also scarified, the removal of asphalt and then repaving. One is for $170,550, dated 2/28/17, and one is $79.50 for some restructuring work at 566 Palm Way. The total is around $180,000. If you remember in the bid, or in our budget, we budgeted $220,000 in repaving. It's my recommendation that you award ANSCO Incorporated for the repaving of this project at a cost not to exceed the budget, or $220,000. That gives your town manager some flexibility in dealing with things that may arise in the work product.
Bill, does the approval of the work order also include approval of the contract? You want both of that in the same motion? You have a contract with ANSCO and then this work order.
I thought we could do it together.
I just wanted to make clear that the motion would approve the contract and these services that have been outlined.
Can I ask, have we used this paper before?
Yes.
Okay, because some of the work, I mean, I'm not, but I think you should inspect it afterwards, because I know on my street, I know we end up with big nails in the asphalt and stuff. I mean, some of it, I just, my only.
ANSCO did not do that work.
Okay, thank you. Because I don't think it was quite as,
Part of the work to fix or part of the work involved here is to fix the cul-de-sac area, which deteriorated as a result of. Thank you, Ron Bennett.
Thank you.
Nice work. As a result of outfall that was recently installed there at Mile Line, and with the high tides, it backed up and deteriorated some of that asphalt. We have since installed a check valve to prohibit such backing up, and we're ready to repair that particular section.
that was my own comment, it was the same.
Understood.
Okay.
ANSCO did the entrance at Wausau Lake.
Okay.
That was a public bid, if you recall, rather large job, which included restructuring the entrance and repaving. They also did some minor work on the old school, which was the 1-foot extension of the width on both sides. That's correct. I like their work. I like working with them, and it would be my recommendation to award or enter into a contract with ANSCO, and also adopt a budget not to exceed $220,000.
Can I ask a question on the timing, with all the work, the underground, and the roads get beaten up? I assume we would do this subsequent?
It would be subsequent to heavy equipment being used in the roadways from our undergrounding, and that would have to be managed in time. The manager would have to evaluate when it's appropriate to pay. The contractor will allow for extension of time. This is for 120 days, so you've got
For 180,
4
it's
months.
6 months, which gives us ample time to complete the necessary undergrounding work and then commence the road
Ideally,
work, hopefully during the summer months, end of the summer perhaps, when people are around.
ideally you'll finish this one prior to September 30th, 2017.
This work.
This one.
Oh, excellent.
Any other comments?
The page that, a third page there, that showed 998, I guess, square yards was that just to illustrate price? That's not part of our project, is it?
You got me there, I'm not sure
Yeah,
what
it
you're.
showed the proposal, the first page, the second page, and there was a,
Looking at the
Third page
schedule,
with a unit price, is that just to
unit
illustrate
price schedule,
prices?
page 3.
Those are, okay, the unit price schedule, that's what you're referring to. It's highlighted, one is to remove asphalt, and the other is to add asphalt.
But is this part of our job, or is it, or?
Yes, if you look at the first page, the quote for $170,550, the first one is mill 1.5 inches of existing asphalt and haul off site. That is item number 5 in the contract. That's to remove the asphalt.
Okay.
Oh, that's
That's 998, and this is
no,
73.
okay. This is the contract that another municipality used, and that was how much they needed to average.
Right, that's right.
We
I
need to
couldn't
remove
get-
7,300 square
I
feet.
couldn't get the numbers to remove anything, I didn't know where else.
We're removing 7,300 square yards of asphalt, and we will be installing a total of 8,400 square yards of new asphalt.
So that's just to show the price,
Yeah, that's the contract that.
the contract price.
Yes.
Doesn't make
And Mr. Randolph wanted to be sure that the prices in which we are charged were exactly that of which was awarded in a public bid, and that's why that sheet is showing up.
Okay.
Got it. Our pricing is incorporated in the agreement that ANSCO had with the town of Ocean Ridge. So we incorporate those terms and pricing.
Correct.
Which was publicly bid. Is there a motion to approve the proposal in terms of contract with ANSCO Inc. at a price not to exceed $220,000?
I'll move to award ENSCO, the bid, or to review our roads, not to exceed 220,000. The roads that are mentioned here.
And according to the pricing and terms of the ANSCO proposal. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Taylor?
Commissioner Lyons?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Stanley?
Yes.
Commissioner White?
Yes.
Commissioner Orthwyne?
Yes.
Mayor Morgan?
Yes. Thank you. Any other comments by commissioners?
You know, I really do want to thank all the residents, though, because they've been very patient with the undergrounding. There've been very few complaints, and I think it's been very disruptive to the residents, and I appreciate them being, their patience, that's all.
They're patient?
Their patience. I haven't gotten a lot of complaints. Has anybody else? It's been really, I mean, it has to be done. It's going to be beautiful when it's done.
Not in a while, they're happy to see progress, which seems to override any
Inconvenience.
bumps in the road here and there.
Yeah.
So.
And I like that September 30th date, everybody returns.
Well, you also
To new roads,
create a
huh?
new budget for next year for
Don't say
that same amount.
Before concluding, we will be taking a 10-minute break prior to moving into the closed-door session with that announcement. Have you adjourning this meeting?
Do you have a
Is there
question?
I did it again. I got confused about when I was able to speak, and I always thought it was at the end, and Ms. Orthwyne told me you don't wait to the end, it's in the beginning, but I didn't know exactly when that was supposed to be. I just have a question.
Sure, there was a period of public comment, but we'll
Sorry.
adjust the timing of the
You waited kindly, sir.
Well, my name's Bob Burns. I live at 3312 North Ocean Boulevard. Been a resident in Gulfstream since 1986. And before I have my question, I'd just like to thank all of you and congratulate all of you on the election, and or condolences, depending upon what you really think. And from my behalf, I think that your reelection indicates that even though there's been a lot of people that were somewhat unhappy on some of the things that went on, that at the end of the day, you got reelected, so that must mean something. So thank you. I'd also like to thank our city manager, Bill. Thank you for 21 years, and enjoy retirement. So here's my question. My question is, as you know, Lakeview Drive and Banyan Drive have both had a little bit of road work done, and I would like to ask if it make sense to perhaps request to do a feasibility study to see if maybe making Lakeview one-way, going from east to west, and Banyan making it one-way going from west to east. That might help alleviate some of the concerns with the landscaping on both sides of the street on those areas. And to tie in with that, if it doesn't make sense to try to find out if it would be a good idea, then perhaps to find out if it wouldn't be a good idea maybe that we make no trucks able to enter on those particular streets or exit. You know, we know that County Line and Gulf Road are both big enough to accommodate this, but Lakeview and Banyan are both, should we say, a little bit small. So I was just wondering if it's ever been done, if there's ever been any kind of a study on whether it makes any sense to do that, and if not, I would like to ask if it's at all possible to at least do whatever needs to be done to find out if it's a good idea or a bad idea or what. That's it.
Yeah, we normally don't take question and answer in public comment, which this kind of is.
Sorry.
But I will just tell you that these things have been raised before.
Okay.
With the town, with the school, vehicles come in Lakeview, not
Yes.
Banyan.
Yes.
Because of the flow of traffic. So that's problematic. Now, in addition, we have directed all construction traffic must come from Gulfview. Cannot come through C, Banyan, Lakeview. That's the construction project. The bulk of these issues come from landscaping vehicles. They're the ones that block the roads, they're the ones that tear up the grass. And it's something that has been looked at and considered without much success. But it's something that we will be looking at again. Because there have been a number of...
I can just tell you, because I live on that corner, that as terminology, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, meaning that there's a tremendous number of construction vehicles that still use those roads. And in thinking about, you know, the one-way situation, right now, you know, the majority of all of the traffic going to the school does come in Lakeview. So I don't think that from a standpoint of redesigning the wheel, it would change a whole lot from that, and most all of the traffic exits the other way. So I'm just saying that maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea to at least look at that to see if it doesn't make any sense. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Mr. Thank you. Any other comments from the commission? If not, this meeting is adjourned.